Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology debunking mythology. Sattology means science of truth or study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology, which means science or study of fake, lie, or imagination. So today I have a very, very special guest. You all know him very well. So let's welcome Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Abhijit, welcome.
Me, our Lord in Christ, bless all your viewers.
So Abhijit, so we have Hindus getting attacked in Leicester and in US, multiple temples in the US. And we do not see the kind of proactive statements coming, like the Indian consulate or high commission responded after 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, they put out a very bland statement that they are concerned about it. So, like, we are talking about a very proactive India, proactive foreign policy, everything, but there is nothing
See,
much.
there is no proactive foreign policy. We talk a lot, and we talk when it becomes news in India. When it's happening, we don't give a shit. And for a very long time, both our ambassador to DC and our ambassador to London, they're more interested in getting themselves post-retirement gigs. They're not really there as India's ambassador to the UK or India's ambassador to the US. They're usually there as India's as their own ambassador for themselves post-retirement. So there's nothing you can do about this. This crap has been going on for a very long time.
One of the things which we really find as uh, most of us are American citizens and not NRIs, to be frank. We are American citizens. So we find to even to approach Indian consulates or something on political issues, very like a very disaffected, and like they don't care, literally don't care. It's like the same old Manmohan Singh government type of environment is there. You write to them something and you may get a response after 5 months or 6 months or 7 months, or you may not get it. 99% you will not get it. So d- what is the thing going on? Like, is it a training is a problem, or they're still in the old mindset, old school people who don't value their own value people?
See, it's right from the start. First of all, you know, in India, it is you seek job security. Why? Because your training is not to problem solve. Your training is to go as per what you've been taught by the book. Right. So if a new situation is thrown at you, you can't, of course, there are exceptions to every rule. There are a few exceptions in the foreign service as well. But overall, they come from this. Then there's a very heavy indoctrination of the left, but more importantly, of laziness, which is if you get into the services, you are services, I mean, the foreign or the administrative service, then you are the Lord, everybody is your servant, and you're there to lord it over. So there's this as well. So what happens is you have this situation. They've never expanded the foreign service because all the foreign service officials all want to become ambassador and joint secretary, etc., etc. So you don't have a vertical pyramid. You've got a literally a straight skyscraper where you can be the most useless officer. You will still become ambassador. You will still become joint secretary, etc., etc., etc. In that situation, you've seen exactly zero reforms. We've got a glib talking foreign minister, which is fine, but any of the reforms that are meant to be carried out simply haven't been carried out. Does he sound more intelligent than some of his predecessors? Sure. But see, he's not been made foreign minister to make glib remarks. If you are there to make glib remarks, then make Arnab Goswami your foreign minister. I'm sure he'll give as good as he gets. Right? So it's just that, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it. You're a third world country with a third world foreign service.
If any Christian gets affected in India, American State Department, US CIRF, and everybody will act on it. Any Christian is affected, any church is affected. If you look at any of the communities get affected, it becomes a human rights issue. And it is made by the governments of the US. USARF is a US aid agency. US aid is a completely owned arm of US State Department. And the American and the British Foreign Office will regularly act. When Mother Teresa was canonized, then they took out a huge publicity for that. So why can't Indian government act on it? Like, what is the thing? I'm repeating my question maybe. What what can Indian government, what should Indian government do? If they copy for everything the Western model, why can't they copy this also in the model? Proactiveness.
Look, where's the incentive for proactiveness? See, if they're proactive, their entire thing is, do you know our High Commissioner to London? She was sitting and actively promoting Jaipur Lit Fest in London, which was catering to a whole host of India beaters. Okay, why? Because obviously the lady wants some post-retirement employment out there, and the liberals are very good with placing you with a column in the New York Times or the Washington Post or Boston Globe or whatever, what have you. Right? Why are they going to look after national interest or the interests of the Indian community or Hindus when they can look after their own interest and there's no reward for looking after your own community?
True. I mean, there is no reward for being a Hindu. There is no help from the being a Hindu. Like if you look at the way, we are directly dependent on Bhagwan Krishna. I think that's the best dependence we have. But still, nonetheless, you're absolutely right. The Hindu community and the leaders especially ignore Hindus at the worst moment. Now there is an organization called Indian American Muslim Council, and they have been feeding all the data on caste and everything, a wrong version of everything, to the American State Department because they have important positions. Now I'll give you the biggest news. In every single in every single event organized by the Indian embassy in US or Indian consulates in the US, they get invited to every single one of them. Not a single Hindu
Obviously.
group is invited.
So, see, have you noticed all these open letters to government that go out are from retired bureaucrats? Okay. So, this is a whole industry. What happens is you get IAMC and start giving them connects and contacts and all of that. And then when they leave the service, they get post-retirement jobs, and IAMC gives them the validation of, oh, this person was a courageous officer. He or she tried to stop it, and he or she was uncomfortable with it. But the fascist government in India won't listen to it, etc., etc. Basically, it's corruption by other means. And there's nothing you can do about it. IAMC is not the only one. I can give you 100 different organizations that get invited to shit like this.
We have seen it all over the place in the US. Now coming to the new like the Biden said that he's not going to intervene in the Taiwan Chinese conflict. He's not going to support it. So he has flip-flopped many times. So
Has he said that? No, he hasn't.
he has said that in CBS interview, 60 Minutes. He said it. We are not
Hmm.
going to intervene. He said it. And the White House came out to uh, you know clarification statement as usual. White House said
Oh, God, yeah.
as
Yes,
usual,
typical. Yeah.
typical. They came out and then they clarified that yes, they're going to intervene. So do you think that America has the resources to intervene in Taiwan Chinese Taiwanese conflict?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Look, America plays the role of offshore balancer. There's a sea between Taiwan and the mainland, and that is what a classic offshore balancer does. You basically go in there and from a distance, you protect the Taiwanese, as in you offer them extra help in shooting down things. Because the Taiwanese are very capable by themselves. They're not like, I mean, even a not very capable country like Ukraine is mounting a fantastic defense against the Russians. Imagine what a professionally trained army, which has, note Ukraine's per capita income is now down to about $2,000 per capita. It's about the same as India at the moment. Taiwan is about what $30,000-$40,000 per capita. They maintain an extremely professional army capable of doing lots of very professional things.
So recent SEO summit, which happened between the SEO, India is the new head of SEO. Don't you think it's a win for Chinese that Shanghai Cooperation Organization and India has accepted their version of the worldview and their version of the world trade?
No, no, we haven't accepted their version of world trade at all. Who told you that?
The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is based out of China.
No, we have not accepted it. Yeah, that's fine. But we're only there to keep an eye on them. You know what they say, keep your friends close and your enemies closer still. That's what we're doing.
And India is ahead of it for this term, 2023, right?
Yeah.
So will it help India in the long run, or with the continuing
Is India the head?
Yeah, India is the new head.
Okay, good. Good to know.
So will it make India's military posture on the border softer than what it is right now?
No, I don't think. I think there are a lot of things one can criticize the government for, but going soft isn't one of them. Of course, they keep repeating mistakes. That's very problematic. But I don't think anybody can accuse them of softness in what happened in the border at all. Anything but softness. If anything, you can say that China is agitated over the border and is trying to introduce new realities precisely because India has taken such a hard stand and is building up infrastructure along the border.
So India has supplied BrahMos missiles to American colony Philippines, still a colony, American colony, even though Duterte is very much going independent of Philippines. And Vietnam also. Vietnam has been always pro-India in every
Mm,
military forum. Will it affect their military equation with the BrahMos being added now against China, posture against China?
mm. So, see, the BrahMos might not be terribly useful against, say, a Western radar, a modern Western radar, but it's very good against the Chinese, right? And who is Philippines' opponent number? Well, not opponent, but who interferes with Philippine shipping and things like that the most? China. Who's the only country that Vietnam has a border problem with? China. So against China, yeah, it will definitely tip the scales.
So, should India also, we have seen that India has launched its own aircraft carrier and all those military naval assets they have launched. But unfortunately, the guns are still not Indians. The guns are Russian or Israeli or the guns. Armaments are all foreign. The ships are
Mm.
Indian. I mean, the metal is Indian, you can say. So, do you think any opportunity of exporting these ships also going to any of those countries? They are very expensive, by the way.
So therein lies the problem. You see, it has to be Israel or France or Russia or Germany or America that approves the onward export. Because it's like trying to sell a car.
You're
Sorry, what was I saying?
completely.
Yeah, so they might or they might not give you export licenses. See, if Italy, for example, is going to the guns on all our ships, most of our ships, the front gun, the 105 gun, sorry, the 76 gun is an Italian Automelara. Now, if the Italians can sell a whole corvette to the Philippines or the Vietnamese, why are they going to give you export licenses for an Indian ship to? They'd want 100% work share instead of just what 5 or 10% that the gun is, right?
Natural, yeah.
So
Natural.
there you go.
So in the Andaman Nicobar now, India is setting up a full-fledged container ships. Just yesterday, Modi ji announced that, and the container ship and the shipping lines, which will also bring a lot of
Sorry, what India is setting up?
a container terminal in Andaman Nicobar.
Okay,
It's their own territory.
congratulations to them.
Yeah, setting up, and which will be,
Yeah, it's also a very ecologically sensitive zone. So
yeah, but I mean, they're using the land for the first time. I'm seeing that. Maybe they choose a smaller island or something. There are more than 1,000 islands over there.
you know India's record at ecological conservation is absolute shit. That's a particularly a sensitive area. I really wish they had thought this thing through, but then we are Indians. We're a third world country with third-rate decision making. Good for them.
Yeah. So in case anyway, looking at the commercial side of it, it will be a huge advantage to India in terms of controlling the trade or
Actually, it won't. You see, because container terminals, people aren't going to stop their ship just because there's a container terminal there. With the advent of bigger ships, more fuel-efficient ships, what happens is that ships now only stop at ports which have a huge economic hinterland. You need something like a minimum of 30 to 80 billion dollars worth of economic hinterland for your port to be viable for a ship to stop. So this is your typical Indian cranial rectal inversion thinking, where the Babu sitting who decided to make it a container terminal had his rectum in his cranium, and he decided to go ahead with this. This is, do you remember once upon a time, I don't know how old you are, but I remember in the early 80s, when Air India was still flying the 707, the Boeing 707, for us to go from Delhi to London, you had to do several stops. You had to go from Delhi to Cairo, Cairo to Rome, and then Rome to London. Different stops. I mean, I think it was Air India that did Delhi, Cairo. There was another one which I did, which was Delhi, Bahrain, Bahrain to Rome, and then Rome to London. So you had to do these 4 or 5 different stops. Now with full plane loads, where a plane can just go direct, there's no room for these stops on the thing to London. It's direct Delhi, London, and your end of story. It's like that. Ships have evolved that way. They're not going to go unless there's a market in each single stop. And what is the economic hinterland of the Andamans? Less than, let's check. I mean, while we're live, we might as well just check this live. What is it? Andaman and Nicobar GDP. Let's see. Doesn't even have. Okay. So your current in rupees crores is, the last was 7,800 crores. What is that in dollars?
Around.
What is that in dollars?
How many crores you said?
I don't do thousands of crores.
How many?
Convert 7,800.
It's around $1 billion, less than $1 billion.
Crores to in dollars.
Less than $1 billion.
Might not even be $100 million.
No. 1 billion is 7,500 crores or something, 7,700 crores. So 1 billion is that much, so it will be a little less than that. So we can move on to the
97 US dollars. So it's 970 million. Yeah. Thereabouts.
Something around that.
Like $1 billion. Yeah. That's it.
Which is very less for the terminal, because you need a lot of things over there, which is to run it, to operate it, all those things. So
so let's be clear about one thing. It's a subsistence supply from India. It is nothing more than a subsistence supply from India. That's about it.
So one question comes in, like with the Indian government supporting Ukraine on 2 UN resolutions now, 2, and voting against Russia on 2 UN resolutions, and those are very minor, small resolutions. It's not condemning the war, it's not condemning Russia, nothing. It's just on trade issues like the food supply. So the general media circus is going on that India has now come back in the favor of the West, which is a big circus going on all over the place. And so what?
Let me tell you what happened. People forgot that Devendra Fadnavis, who is probably the 4th or 5th most powerful person in India, simply because he's the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, which is India's most economically powerful state, was in Russia on an official visit. Right. Signing up deals with the Russian film industry to promote Russian films in India. This was at the same time. And what did Modi say? This is not the era of war. That's it. Which could equally be a rebuke to America, which engages in regime change operations.
Absolutely.
Right. So it could be a rebuke to anyone. This is like me going, see, this is the problem. The American press is desperate to find validation wherever you can get it. Right? So this is like me coming to America and saying Indians are hardworking, and then every Indian saying, see, he said, I am hardworking. No, this is literally like the Pope coming to India and saying the sky is blue and the grass is green, and the government then claiming, see, the Pope could see green grass and blue skies. That means Delhi doesn't have a pollution problem anymore because smog would make the grass gray and the sky gray, and therefore. This is this is like typical. This is the kind of shit why media has lost its credibility.
And the media circus is so much that India is back on our side. India is supporting American interests.
They're not back on our side. Wait till Rana Ayub's next column comes out in the Washington Post.
I know. So the attacks which in Russia also Hindus are being attacked. It's not that UK or just there. In Russia also they're being attacked. Is the church's mission. So do you think there is one person guiding the whole world that this is a time to attack Hindu temples? Or Hindu temples are all RSS owned? 90% of Hindu temples have no connection with RSS, by the way. 99%.
Well, they keep coming up with bullshit narratives. So what happened in Leicester, for example, was because of the head of police of Leicester justifying violence by Muslims on Hindus, claiming Hindus had gone around shouting death to Muslims. Then he had to come online and say, sorry, we couldn't find any verifiable proof that this actually happened. And imagine the police chief of Leicester inciting the mob.
I mean, Indians should not complain much because in Palghar, it was like police handed over those two sadhus to the mob.
Yeah.
They should not complain.
Yeah.
Because it happened in Maharashtra also. So it's if the British guy...
No, we should complain. It's very good. Now what they should do is they should start going after the Leicester police, make this fellow Paul Allen's life miserable, go after his finances, go after everything, and turn his life and the life of his family into a living nightmare for the rest of his life.
What I mean to say, complaining in the sense that like crying after the incident has happened. Either you do proactive step or you do post-retroactive step, like what you're saying, where you can go back and challenge what that guy got elected in the first place. These are elected positions over there. Now, if you look at the Scotland Yard police, or the Metropolitan Police, I know them very, very well. Their training has no sensitization towards the Hindu culture. No sensitization. They do not want to even include parts like the Hindus.
So, that's fine. Why? Because Hindus aren't a violent community. Right? You can pretty much do anything. There's not going to be a Hindu riot. So I actually take that as a mark of pride that Hindus don't need sensitization as opposed to violent communities that do require sensitization training. But either violent or mentally deranged.
No, but Abhijit, the point is like, for example, these people, they do not understand that why Hindus worship Archa Vigraha. It's not a murti. For them, the deity in the temple is a living person.
It doesn't matter. It's a holy place. That's it. End of story.
No, you see, you have to understand that in the temple, Hindu temple, the deity is considered as a living person.
Adi, how does it matter? It's a holy place, full stop. We're not going to get into why it's holy or why it's not. Right? If something is attacked, if a holy place is attacked, you protect it. Full stop. End of story.
So if you look at the statements coming out of the police, if you look at analyze them, that there is no, like, this is something I was hearing on, I directly heard the people over there who are arguing over there. Now, the police is saying, what makes you dress the deities? This is what they asked them in the police station. What makes
I haven't seen any reports of that.
Did not come out, but these are the questions were asked inside.
Okay, let's focus on what has come out, because this is I've heard a lot of these WhatsApp rumors. I've not seen any proof of it.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, like, you're right in a way that the sensitization is not needed. It's a condition of pride also for us, because it means that we are not a threat to peace, general peace. Now, moving to, if you look at from this incident for the rest of the UK or the rest of the US, what should the Hindus do proactively now? Because they know that the Indian commissions are also not going to respond in time.
Look, Indians have to do something that the British Indian community did. And this is why I'm so proud of the British Indian community for coming up and standing up this time round, which is that they just denied labor funding. The more jihadi that labor in Britain got, uh, British Hindus knew that the constituencies where they live aren't big enough for them to swing the vote. What they did was swing the finances completely towards the Tories. And this is what they need to do in America. Sadly, we have too many assholes who also happen to be Hindus. You know, I somehow feel that the asshole Hindu intersection is particularly large, who are more than happy to just click pictures with their candidates and not demand anything in return. Okay. And in America, I've noticed that there are hundreds of Hindu organizations that are constantly hurling. They seem to be more interested in hurling muck at each other than hurling muck at anybody else, which is, of course, the story of India. You know, in 1857, when the First War of Independence, what's called the First War of Independence, the Sepoy Mutiny broke out, do you know how many white people there were in India? 40,000. 40,000 against a population of 200 million, and the 40,000 won. So this is the self-defeating streak that we have. When Shalabh Kumar wants to get an interview of Trump, who does he choose? NDTV. NDTV that was spewing venom against Trump. And even during the interview, when Trump made his claims, they do an in-interview fact check of that interview. So, you know, Indians are spineless social climbers. In spite of all their wealth and all their whatever they've achieved or whatever in the Bay Area, they're fundamentally a community of ass lickers who desperately need white validation of some sort or another, which is why, you know, we might as well just, instead of calling them the Indian community in America, we might as well just call it Rectamistan, because it's an agglomeration of rectums.
You know, Abhijit, you are whiter than the whites. You know that, right?
This is true. I also have blonde hair and blue eyes, as you can see. Can you see my blue eyes? No.
They just turned yellow when you came near the camera. Okay. So you have used the choicest words for the Indian American community. So thank you so much for that. And
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Especially the Bay Area ones.
The Bay Area. You are absolutely right. They go to any of the politician meetings and take pictures with them. And there's a very famous dialogue in one movie called Twins. You know, the dialogue is like when is the money talks and the shit walks.
Mm.
Money talks.
Yeah.
This is how most of the Americans view their own politicians as, generally on the ground. You throw them money, they'll talk whatever you want.
That's so use that. I have never come across a jackass who throws money just for a photograph, but not to get them to do what they want them to do.
No, the actual dialogue is, when the money talks, bullshit walks. So that's actual dialogue.
Great. Now you look at the Muslim community. It's all, for better or worse. Sometimes I actually admire the way they work. It's all for the community. For the Hindu, it's always about I, me, myself, and it's very few people who actually do anything for the community. Right? If they do, it's for the most obscurantist shit, like saving cows. They're more interested in cows than they are in human beings. I mean, of all the things you want to make your last stand on, it's a bloody cow.
I mean, every community has a symbol. Some people hate animals, some people love animals.
Look, you can have symbols. Okay, it's fine to have symbols. But I fundamentally have a very poor opinion of a community where the life of a bovine matters more than the life of a human.
I mean, to some extent, like both have to go hand in hand. They have to protect humans as well. But one thing I will agree with you, that we get into the photo op method, photo ops. If you go
Mm,
to an Indian home, a prominent Indian American home, you'll have a picture with Republican leaders, and on the same side you have a picture with the Democrat leaders. And I tell you one example. I went to somebody's home. So Kevin McCarthy's, he had a picture with Kevin McCarthy, and he had a picture with the this Schumer, and both of them on the side by side. And the first thing Kevin McCarthy says, "Who is that guy?" In a jokingly, he said, "Who is that guy?" So
mm,
he immediately he did not notice the Indian American who was giving $35,000. He looked at the picture. Who is that? The other guy. Who is that guy? So,
mm.
so it's just shooting in the foot. Now you called him home. He's embarrassed because you were a Democrat donor in the past. So the photo op, and people charge heavily. I'll give you an example. One Indian American doctor paid $387,000 to take a picture with President Trump when he lost the election. Just
And what did he get out of? Okay, at least Trump was quite pro India, right? But we had pro India people even in the Obama administration. Ash Carter was one of the most pro India politicians that you can get in America. He was a professional, he wasn't a politician. He went over and above the call of duty to give export clearances for American weapons. How did we reward him? Exactly nothing. On the other hand, when people spit on you, I'm sure that if that Banshee Ilhan Omar decides to come to India, they literally roll out the ass licking brigade for her all the way from the airport to the presidential palace.
I'm sure she will have an interview with Prime Minister Modi also if she comes to India.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And in fact, they'll even give her a visa post haste.
That's right. What happened to Victoria Nuland? You know that. Victoria Nuland is known for balkanizing countries. That is her profession as a CIA agent. And she was given a red carpet in Tamil Nadu. Everybody knew her
Look,
background.
she's a government official, so you have to let her go where she wants. You can't really restrict her movement. You could have conveyed it in a much subtler, nicer way somewhere else that anybody but Victoria knew it. But see, this is where we go back to the beginning of the interview, where we talked about the lack of professionalism uh, the Indian Foreign Service.
One more incident which has happened. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has recently been nailed by the American media. Again, the media circus. I call it American media circus. For me, Fox News, CNN, everybody's media circus, because they keep on changing, and I'm tired of their talking points. I've switched off both the channels now on my show, on at my home. Now the immigration is a big issue for border counties, not for the city. So they sent a whole brigade. You know very well, Martha Vineyard.
Mm.
They sent the whole 50 people over there, and the city council over there shifted them to the American military base. So they're living on the American military base now. And and but the Texas is not bowing down. They're sending some more to Chicago and some more to other cities which are immigration friendly, the sanctuary cities. So
Lovely.
so
See, this is why crime. I wish more illegal immigrants on all these cities. I wish more illegal immigrants in California because California should burn. Chicago should burn. You get what you pray for, and you're getting exactly what you pray for. I have to run now, Adi.
all right, Abhijit. So thank you, Abhijit, for joining the show, and for all the viewers who are watching the show, thank you. And we will come back again with the next version next week. So whatever you hear from Abhijit, he uses sarcasm. I just want a clarification point. He uses sarcasm to make his point on the
No,
frustration.
no, no. no. When I want more illegal immigrants on Tory Lightfoot or Lori Lightfoot or uh, Crazy Whitefoot or whatever her name is, I mean it. There is no sarcasm involved here.
Hey, Abhijit,
You get what you pray for.
I'm just protecting you. I know that you.
I wish on every American that their dreams come true. You want more illegal immigrants? I wish your dream comes true. Just keep them in the cities where you pray for them. Don't send them to the cities where they do not pray for them.
Anyway, with that, we'll end the show. And if I keep going on and on, he's going to give you more sauce. So, so thank you, and we'll see you next week. Namaste.
Ta-da, bye.